Hello, everyone. Welcome to the expert sessions of the Conversational Marketing Masterclass. Steven, thanks for joining me here. Super
My
excited
pleasure.
to have you join WeConnect's Conversational Marketing Masterclass. I know you as a leading expert in creating great customer experiences in a digital world. You have written many books. One of the books, The Conversation Company, I think it's one of your first books. I've read many times. It was one of the books I needed to read during my one of my studies at Bekenstein. You are also a well-known keynote speaker and an entrepreneur. But do you mind telling everyone a bit about yourself?
Sure, but you already took out the highlights. So my passion is to do research about customer experience and share those ideas with as many people as possible on different channels. And yeah, I write books about it. I share a lot of content on my YouTube channel, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Presentations is an important part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I also started a few companies in this field. One is Nextworks, which is let's say an inspiration company where we try to get companies ready for the day after tomorrow, make sure that their customer strategies are in line with the future customer. That's what we're trying to do there. Mm-hmm. I started a social media agency called Chatbots that is now part of a large digital European group called Interacto. Mm-hmm. And I'm also part-time an academic. I'm a marketing professor in the Vlerik Business School, and I'm a guest lecturer in the London Business School.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's it. But you know, it's all organized about this one topic: customer experience, future of customer experience, the link between technology and customer behavior. That's the field that I like to work in.
Yeah, amazing. A lot of things that you're doing. So let's just dive right in. So in prepping for this interview, I was doing some research, and I saw an old TED Talk you did, where you stated that customers should become your friends. Do you mind elaborating a bit on what you mean with this and how you think that technology or communication technology can help with this?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for watching that TED Talk. The whole idea came from asking myself who gets the best service from an organization. And in an ideal world, every customer is treated in a fantastic way. But what you often see is that if you have a personal connection with someone in an organization and something goes wrong and you talk to that personal connection, suddenly doors open and suddenly you get helped in a better way. So what I noticed was that, you know, if you go to a big bank and something goes wrong and you're following the traditional path, you know, probably you're going to be helped. But if it goes wrong, it can really go wrong. Mm-hmm. But if your neighbor or your friend or your uncle works in that bank and you tell that person about your terrible experience, that person will do whatever he or she can to make sure that issue is solved, because you have this personal connection. I know you, and it's not just about the company's reputation anymore. It's about my reputation, you know, that I can do a good job. I can make things happen. So the moment that it becomes personal, the efforts go up in terms of trying to help people. And that was the message of that TED Talk, that, you know, if you know that your customer is your neighbor, you're trying harder. And as long as you have that mentality in your organization, you're not delivering a great customer service. And in fact, you should treat everyone like it's your neighbor, your aunt, your mom, or your best friend. At that moment, you have the commitment that your customers deserve.
Exactly. So it's more the human element, but then also in a more personal way, so that you really having contact with a human being instead of with a
well, you know, they're like in many companies, when they talk about customer experience, they talk about the processes and how can we optimize the processes. And that's one thing, and that's important to make sure that things happen in a fast and efficient way. But next to the processes, you also have the intensity and the creativity in which the people on the floor use those processes. We can have the exact same process for company A and B, and in A, it feels like you're being treated by a robot. In B, there's so much energy in that process that you think, wow, this has been a unique experience. So the process is one thing, the energy intensity is the other thing. It's asking yourself the question as a business leader, do I have a team that has to be nice to customers, or do I have a team that wants to be nice to customers? It's that can really make a difference in experience.
Exactly. I get that. But also something that's interesting, I found you also in my research doing this interview, I saw that you also had a video on what if the customer is no longer part of the customer journey. And this might be a little bit counterintuitive to the human experience that we're talking about. So you're having the customer. What I got out of it is that the customer is that more things will be automated, and the customer will be not necessarily part of the customer's journey. Can you explain what you mean with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is linked to the whole evolution of AI and automation. I think that in a few years we're going to move from e-commerce to a-commerce, automated commerce, where you can outsource certain decisions and purchasing journeys completely to a machine. The most evident example is your food. In a household, an average household, about 80% of the things that you eat and drink are exactly the same week after week, month after month. And that means there's a pattern. And the moment that there's a pattern, you can start to predict behavior. And if you can predict behavior, you can automate. So basically, for almost every household in the world, you could create their consumption pattern, and you could make sure that on Saturday morning, a box arrives with all the stuff that the machine knows that you need, and you just need to get it at the front door. You don't need to go to a store anymore. You don't have to push any buttons if you want to buy it online. It just happens for you, and it's fully automated. In that situation, the customer is no longer part of that decision flow. It's machines talking with machines, and that's a completely different ballgame. And it's indeed different than what I just talked about, the human aspect, the energy aspect. But the truth is, in many cases, as a customer, you don't need the human touch. In many cases, your primarily concern is efficiency. You want things in a fast and easy and as convenient way possible. But on the other hand, there are other purchases that are more emotional, where you're more uncertain, where you need more advice, or when something goes wrong in the automated process. Those are the moments that you want to be helped in a more emotional way, and maybe emotional is the wrong word, but a more human way. There it's not just about efficiency. There it's about the way that they help you. And I think both parts should be, let's say, the very automated part and then the very human part, both should be part of a customer experience strategy of every company.
Yeah, could you say then that like the routine purchases or the routine, the low friction, low cost routine purchases are things that could be more automated, and then like things that are more emotional, so more possibly with a higher expense, like buying a car or something else, would be more human?
Yeah, probably. Definitely in the beginning, definitely in the early days of automated commerce, that's definitely going to be products that you just buy because you have to buy them. Think of cleaning products, laundry detergent, all the gear that you need at your desk, the basic necessities in terms of food, those kind of things are easy to outsource. And other products are, as you say, more complex, and you want to think about them. But I could imagine that families that, for instance, do a similar trip every year. Like, we like to travel with our family, and every school holiday we try to go to places. But we have this one fixed tradition. Every time in February, we go for a week to Tenerife, to the Canarian Islands. It's tradition in our family. We like it. The children like it. It's a lot of fun. We go to the same place every year, and there's a pattern with a holiday, which is important to us. But a machine could easily say, hey, Steven, isn't this a good time to book your annual trip to Tenerife? Because it's 4 or 5 months from now, and this is a good moment. Prices are best to book now. You can automate that as well because there's a pattern. So everything that has a pattern in your life can be automated. If there's no pattern, then it's a different ball game.
Yeah, exactly. So we just were focusing a bit on the B2C customer experience. One of the environments, the B2B environment, is, I think, an environment that should have a very personal touch. Mm-hmm. And also it's also quite different than the B2C environment in that way. Where do you see opportunities for B2B companies in improving their customer experience?
Yeah, well, I recommend B2B companies to play with 3 customer benefits, especially when it comes to using technology. Mm-hmm. Think about faster and real-time services. How can you anticipate to problems of your customer? Solve a problem before there is a problem. The second one is hyper-personalization. How can you personalize more than today? And the third one is about convenience. How can you use the most convenient interfaces you can ever imagine? And let me give you a number of examples from the B2B world on each of these. Faster and real-time. I had the pleasure to work for a coding company, paint company called PPG, the largest paint producer in the world. What they do is they make smart paint, and they use it to paint the pipelines in the ocean where oil and gas is going through. And the goal of this paint is not to make it beautiful, it's to protect it against the erosion from the ocean. Well, in this paint now, there are sensors that send out a message to the owner of those pipelines saying, hey, I need a new layer of paint. I'm going to be in trouble soon. That's faster and real time. They don't discover a problem in the pipeline. They solve it before there is a problem because the paint becomes smart. It's completely personalized on that specific pipeline. It's not the average result anymore. And it's extremely convenient because you don't have to do anything anymore. And you know, this is just one example, but this is something that you see in many B2B markets where they're going for preemptive maintenance, completely personalized, completely automated on a machine park or on, you know, parts in the office. That's a very important one. So I think in terms of digital and customer experience, proactivity, personalized proactivity is probably going to be a huge trend. And then the convenience part, this is a challenge in my opinion for B2B companies, because there's still some people in B2B companies that believe that the humans that work there never live a normal life outside of the doors of their home. And, you know, those guys also have a phone, and they also have WhatsApp, they also have Facebook, they also have all the tools that other people have, and they're used to working with that privately. I think many B2B companies need to understand that those interfaces on the homepage of the phone define the kind of convenience that their customers expect in a B2B environment. So, you know, you know what I mean? It's trying not to be the fastest snail in the snail race, because many B2B companies, they look to other B2B companies, their direct competitors, and then they're saying, oh, we're ahead of the curve, we're ahead of them. Yeah, but you're still slow compared to the consumer interfaces that definitely influence the B2B interfaces.
Yeah, so you would say B2B companies should be adopting these interfaces more, or being more...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I think you just touched on it. The 3 solutions you just gave, because you in your latest book, The Offer You Can't Refuse, you describe how we can react in an appropriate manner to the new generation of customer expectations. And I think you just touched on it. Is the ultimate convenience and making interfaces more automated. That's what you mean, right? So that's one of the key elements of the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The Offer You Can't Refuse just came out in the beginning of September in 2020, and you know, it's a story about trying to predict expectations of future customers for the next 3 to 5 years. And you know, my hypothesis is that if you want to create an offer people can't refuse, you need a number of components. Of course, you need a good product and a good price and service, but that's obvious, that's a minimum need. More and more, what you're starting to see is that automated interfaces, creating the ultimate convenience, making life as easy as possible through digital interfaces, is also becoming a commodity. In the past 10 years, we had, 4G, mobile, and social that came into the world as big technologies. Today, they are mature. And one of the consequences is that digital convenience is now part of our day-to-day world. It's not something that you can differentiate. It's a minimum demand. And then you have to build on top of that. And I always think from a customer point of view, what can you offer more that people would like to work with you? And I've called a different layer of service a partner in life strategy, where you try to offer a broader set of services that go beyond just your own product, but understand, the whole environment that you're offering has an influence on, and how can you offer services on that whole domain. And then on top of that, more and more people are looking for organizations that have a positive impact on society. So the top of the offer you can't refuse model is about how can you use the strengths of your organization to have a positive impact on society. And the combination of these elements, good product price, great digital interfaces, partner in life, impact on society, if you combine those, then you have an offer people can't refuse. That's the concept of this new story.
Yeah. And for you, like, can you give a few examples of companies that you see that are having this approach?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a company in the Netherlands that I really like that plays with this. It's called Centraal Beheer, which is an insurance company. And of course, they have good insurance products. Over the years, they've built good digital interfaces, both for getting an insurance and to make sure your claim is handled in an easy way, so that they're on top of that. But now they want to go further. They want to become a partner of your house, a partner in living in your house, and not just selling insurances for your house. So they were looking for what are services that we can implement for our customers. Like in the Netherlands, beginning of next year, it's going to be obliged to have a smoke detector in your house of a certain standard quality. So as an insurer, you can send a letter to your customers and say, hey, dear customers, you need a new smoke detector. Or you can do what Centraal Beheer is doing. They send a letter saying, hey, guys, this is what you need. If you want, we can come to your house and install that. Just let us know. And they're helping out. They're doing it. They're not just announcing it. That's the difference. But they go further than that. You can order solar panels from the Centraal Beheer website. Solar panels from an insurance company, and it's easy as Amazon to get them. You fill out a form in real time. You get a proposal, and a few days later they come to your house to install solar panels. They have these apps. One is called Klushulp. It's like an Uber for chores in your house. It's perfect for people like me with two left hands. I mean, if you have to replace a light bulb in your house, you push a button, they send someone, and that's being done for you. So they are working on that. And at the same time, by, for instance, taking care of the solar panel infrastructure, they're also solving the energy discussion that we have around the world today. So you see how Centraal Beheer is playing and trying to create an offer on each of those dimensions so that it becomes extremely attractive to work with them.
That's a good example, I think. And also, I think you also mentioned previously companies like Netflix and Spotify that are also more on the partner in life domain. I thought that was also a very good example that, like, for us now, Netflix is something that we associate with all our series and video consumption, and also Spotify is our music partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also found that very insightful to think about it that way, and how you can, as a company, can approach this in a similar way.
Spotify is I like the Spotify example because it's if you look back, they started, I think it was 2006 when they started with their company. And those were the days of illegal music download. And that seems very far away now, but those were the days that no one was paying for music. And then they started with a paying service. It's like a suicide mission. But then they won the game in the beginning with their interface, digital interface. It was faster than Pirates Bay, for instance. You had all those songs available. It was like they were all on your hard drive. Back then, it took 3 to 4 minutes to download one song. So that was an enormous advantage. And then indeed they start to build, with their algorithms, they had the playlist, and that's a partner in life. And saving the world together with your customers, they have created a legal platform where you can still, in a cheap and easy way, have access to music, but you're not going into illegal grounds, and you're supporting the artist. Maybe not as much as they would hope you would be supporting them, but at least it's an alternative that is legal.
Yeah, and
so
I think
you feel how they play on each of those levels.
Exactly, and the convenience level is something I think they played in. They created very well with the what you just said, the convenience of a faster, not a slow download, and also having access to everything on demand. So that is something that. And also, I think also what is interesting is the subscription model, which is also something that is you see more and more often, and this is also something that is creating convenience for people because it's also automated.
Yeah.
How do you see if we go a little bit more specific to communication interfaces like chatbots, messaging bots like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp? How do you see the current state of these interfaces?
I think that the adoption has increased tremendously. And I think everyone feels that many websites where you're going to just have a chatbot available in case you're searching for information that they can help you in real time. And I see them more and more as a support function as well. And I think today they're very good in answering basic questions, simple questions that people have. And because of that, you have 24/7 availability. So if you have a quick, urgent question, you can easily get help with a chatbot. On the other hand, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me, but I'm still waiting for the iPhone after the BlackBerry moment for chatbots.
Yeah,
I have the feeling that it's nice, but I also have the feeling that we're not there yet. If you describe the dream of what we hope chatbots would be, we're on our way there, but there's still a huge potential to improve it, I think.
Yeah, I agree, and there is a lot of opportunity to improve, and also now with the AI, machine learning, NLP, it's still moving, it's still growing, so it's still a lot of learning there, and I think also where we see an opportunity is qualifying. So you have the bot, which is more automated. You don't need a human behind the interface. However, I think it's important that you are able to quickly move to a human experience. So you can have a bot experience with a chatbot where you find out what your customer is, what they want or what they need, what their needs are at that moment. And if they are requesting a live conversation, I think that should be created on demand and in a real time. And that is something I think that there's an opportunity for conversational experiences. And in terms of messaging, it's this is something that it's also like WhatsApp. It's something that is, humans are doing this probably the most the whole day. So they're chatting with WhatsApp Messenger. This is their most busy activity.
It's their natural habitat these days. Yeah, absolutely.
So also communicating with companies in this way, I think that there is this adoption should move more, but it's also something that needs to be it takes time, and also finding the right way to do it is there has to be a lot of trial and errors, but definitely I believe this will happen more and more.
And what I think is what you mentioned is really interesting. It's from machine to human. If you have a problem, the human comes to the rescue. I can also see a future where it goes in the other direction, that, for instance, when I talk with a human in a service kind of conversation and we figured it out, and let's say the hard part is covered, maybe then the human will say, okay, Steven, we got it all covered. I'm going to send you back to a bot to fill out some details. And that's the most efficient way to do it. So thanks. And my colleague, the bot, will take care of the rest of the process. So I can also see that when the human part is over and you have a more easy way to finish the conversation, that the human outsources it back to the bot. Could also happen in that direction.
Exactly. Yeah. That would definitely be, especially if you have to do like the routine questions, or things that are not. That definitely that's something that's, I think, very interesting to look into. I think. Yeah, and if in looking at the AI machine learning part of it, what is your thoughts on this? You just mentioned social, mobile, as things that are now more mature. Do you see new? I believe you see AI machine learning as something that is new, or at least a new trend that is emerging. Do you see other trends, and can you elaborate a bit on that?
Certainly. And of course, AI is not new, but I think that they've been working on it for decades. But I think what you see now is that we're at a point where it can become really valuable for a broad kind of applications. And that evolution is still at its early days. That's still in the beginning of that adoption curve. And there are a number of those. I think we have a number of general purpose technologies that are ready to really mature and become mainstream. And AI is definitely one of them. 5G, we have quantum computing, we have robotics, and we have the cloud. And I sometimes say, like, this is now the moment in history where we're installing freeways for digital applications. We've been driving around on small roads in the past 10, 20 years in terms of digital. Now we're installing digital freeways. It's like, a new evolution that we're going to see. And I'm certain 10 years from now, we're going to have a complete different way of interacting with machines and with each other because of a larger maturity of these new technologies.
Yeah. And do you think in that because of this, there will also be because of all this automation and these technologies, that also that there will only be a few companies that will be providing for the customers, or will be like what I'm actually trying to say is, you see now Amazon is like the big player in e-commerce. However, you still have other companies that are still providing in this e-commerce space. But do you see this move to more the one player situation, or do you still see like all these other players having their space in this new world?
Yeah, well, if we look to Asian markets, there you have typically the super apps like Grab and WeChat that are, really a partner in life of people. Everything that they do in their day-to-day life is being activated thanks to those super apps. And that's an extreme situation. And the whole ecosystem is built around it so that the smaller businesses are, working now through WeChat, are working through Grab, and for them it works. If you look to Western markets, we're not in that situation. We have a couple of really big digital players, like Amazon is obviously one of the most fascinating one. And I can assume, or I would assume, that the end game of an Amazon is to make sure that as many transactions as possible happen through their platform. And they have the technology for that. They have the logistics for that. They have Alexa being put in place to make that happen, not just in B2C, but also in B2B. So that's their end game. But I personally think that we will never have that super app ecosystem like we see in China. I think it's going to be different in European and US markets, where of course you will have players like Amazon that take a big part of the pie. But I see now so many incumbents that are reorganizing themselves and are strengthening their relationship with the end user. And that is crucial, to strengthen the relationship with the end user and to increase your brand power. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what you need to make sure that people come directly to you. And then you have a broader world with more companies to choose from, which I personally believe is the best possible outcome. I'm not a fan that everything would happen through Amazon. I think we need to have a broader variety of choices. but we can be sure about it that Amazon will do whatever they can to get more and more from that pie.
Yeah,
And they're
exactly.
good at it.
And the technology like Alexa and these things will also help them generate this more and more. Yeah, well, Steven, yeah, thank you a lot for this conversation. I think it's been very valuable. You shared a lot of good insights. Yeah, highly recommend everyone to get your new book. Maybe you can tell the audience where they can find your book and other material.
Yeah, sure. The easiest way, of course, is go to Amazon, or for the people in Belgium and the Netherlands, you can go to bol.com. You can go to my website, stevenvanbelleghem.com. You can get it there. And if you want to follow my stories, my insights, definitely check out my Instagram account. It's just at Steven van Belleghem, just my name, or youtube.com/my name. And there you can stay up to date about all the things that I do and that I publish.
Perfect.
Would be wonderful. People would visit me there.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll also put the links in the notes.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Steven.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure to be part of your interview series. So thanks for that.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, and
Bye bye.
have a good day. Bye
You
bye.
too.